Okay. Sit at my desk. You're going to help me keep track of their time, right? Okay. Your browser does not recognize. We're live. I will check if it is live. I believe it is. I think it does have your internet and not Chrome. Want me to minimize it? Yeah. I'm gonna keep an eye on it. Mute. Go ahead and mute. It'll be just a few minutes. We're having some technical difficulties with one of the candidates, so we're trying to come up with a technological adaptation. So we may have a few minutes to get another candidate set up. All right, so before we begin, I wanted to introduce myself. My name is Rory Tindor. I currently work as the Central Wyoming College American Indian Student Coordinator. I work out of the Riverton office. My job is to assist our students of Shoshone and Arapaho tribes to be able to attend college or assist them in transitioning to other universities should they decide to go on with their higher education. I've been contacted and asked to serve as the moderator for today's forum. Before we begin, I wanted to list out the candidates who will be a part of today's conversation. We have Clinton Glick, Waylon K. Large, Mike Ute, Vernon Hill Sr., John R. St. Clair, and John R. Washaki. As I've introduced previously, we have some Zoom rules and protocol that have been recommended, and we will try to adhere to as much as possible. We are streaming live on the Eastern Shoshone Tribe's YouTube page. Candidates, be aware that background noise video, if it becomes too distracting, you will be muted or your video will be temporarily turned off. Video is optional, and if you are muted, please unmute yourself before speaking. We can assist you with that as well. Please respect the time you've been given, 3 minutes to answer each question so we can keep the forum under 2 hours. I will alert you at your 30-second time frame within your 3 minutes to let you know to wrap it up. If we're disconnected due to poor internet connectivity, please phone in with the number listed in the Zoom link provided to you. There is a passcode that's attached to that, and it's to keep the forum available to the candidates so they have adequate time to speak and provide you information.
Okay. She's no.
Okay.
You're unmuted, so.
Okay. All right. Waylon Large, can you hear me?
Good.
Yeah, I can hear you.
Okay. John Washaki? He's still muted. John, are you able to hear me? You might need to go help him. Okay, John St. Clair, are you able to hear me?
Yes, I can hear you.
Okay. Mike Ute, are you able to hear me?
Yeah, I gotcha.
Okay. Vernon Hill, are you able to hear me?
Oh, okay.
Okay. All right, John Washaki, are you able to hear me?
I can hear you.
Okay. So again, the candidates, Clinton Glick, we're waiting for him to connect. Waylon K. Large, just as an informational piece, Waylon will be leaving 45 minutes into this conversation. He has a prior engagement he has to attend to. Mike Ute, Vernon Hill Sr., John R. St. Clair, and John R. Washaki. So to begin, we have 5 questions. Each question will be 3 minutes each. For the first question, we'll have 20 minutes total for you to answer. What we will ask is for each of you to follow a specific order. I'll indicate who is up to speak first, and then I'll also notify you of your 30 seconds. So for each of you, the first question is an introduction. So please introduce yourself, your background and experience, academically, employment-wise, or if you've previously served in this capacity. We just ask for a 3-minute introduction from each of you. We'll begin with Clinton Glick. He hasn't joined. Mr. Glick has not joined the conversation yet, so we will come back to him once we complete this rotation. Waylon Large, please introduce yourself, your background and experience academically, your employment, and any experience with the Shoshone Business Council.
My name is Waylon Large. I currently serve on the Entertainment Committee. I've served on that for 8 terms. I currently work for the Tribal Prosecutor's Office for the past 16 years. Before that, I worked for Port, and prior to that, I worked for the Cultural Center for 5 years. So it's all been in the tribal realm. It's just this, I don't know what else you want me to, that's all I have to say. Reason being, I got to run to a court hearing at 4 o'clock. So that's why that's my other prior commitment. So.
Okay, thank you, Waylon.
But thank you.
We'll move on to Mike Mike, please introduce yourself, your background and experience, any academic or employment you've had with the tribes, and any experience with the Shoshone Business Council.
My name is Mike Ute. Can you hear me? Everybody hear me? Okay, so previous employment with the tribe. I worked with the tribe since I was a teenager. So I worked at the tribal service for quite a few years at the gas station there. I worked with Shoshone Tribal Health for about 13 years, different capacities there as an environmental technician. So I was a lot in the community, a lot doing there. And I was also the gym manager for the Zone Fitness gym that they had going on there for about 3 years straight. After that, I went and pursued my education in exercise science in Bozeman, Montana at MSU. I also lived in Seattle for quite a while there. I worked at a CrossFit gym there. And then I went to Bozeman. Never finished my degree. I'm pretty close. I just always had good grades, just never, I don't know, some things kind of came up. So now I am the CEO and president of a private nonprofit group, the Destiny Program. So that's a 501c3. And so I have plenty of experience with federal funding, grants, boards, and things of that nature. So that's a little bit about me.
Okay, thank you. We'll move on to Vernon. Vernon Hill, are you able to provide us an introduction for yourself, your background, experience, academic or employment, and SBC? You're muted, Vernon.
Is that myself or you?
That's you. Go ahead, sir.
You got it? My name is Vernon Hill. I'm just finishing up my 14th year of serving on the Business Council. I've served in different capacities as chairman, vice chairman, and a council member over the years. And prior to that, I started working for the tribe, the Joint Tribes and the Shoshone Tribe back in 1971. I worked in the capacity as a recreation director, planner, and joint for housing director. The last few years I've been in as a coordinator, emergency management coordinator with the tribes, and working along with FEMA. And also I worked as a TERO director for a few years. So that's kind of my background and what I have. So I've had a lot of experience in working in tribal government, for all those years. And saying it wasn't just in one area, it was in different areas that I worked in. So I also worked as a grant writer for the Shoshone tribe back in the 80s. So, like some of the buildings, some of the programs that we built came out with was the commodity building, education. Those are two of those that are still around today. So, I guess the way I look at it is that, with what's come out with the COVID-19, that's this year's going to put a hamper on all of us. And that's, something we need to keep moving with and carry on, make sure that we're going to, do the right thing to, help our people, keep them safe. And so that's kind of, I guess where I'm at right now is I've been involved in it, and I guess I'd like to just continue.
30 seconds.
To the end. Okay, thank you.
Thank you. John St. Clair, can you provide us an introduction of yourself, your background, your experience, academic or employment with Shoshone Tribe, and any experience with the Shoshone Business Council?
Yes, thank you. I'm John St. Clair. I was born and raised here at Fort Washakie, graduated from Fort Washakie Grade School. After that, I attended Haskell Institute and graduated from high school there. Went to various colleges, eventually graduating from the University of Wyoming Law School. Along the way, I was drafted into the military, and due to my education, I was able to attend OCS in the Army and became a commissioned officer. I led an infantry platoon in Vietnam during the Tet Offensive. After my qualifications or experience in tribal government over the past year and a half, or before I served this past year on the Business Council, I worked as a chief judge down in Fort Duchesne, Utah. And prior to that, I'd worked 30 years as the chief judge of the Shoshone and Arapaho Tribal Court. In my experience at the tribal court, I was asked to rule on various things. The most important thing was jurisdiction and authority of the tribes to hear the cases that came before them involving our people and things that happen on the reservation. I constantly upheld the authority of the tribes, and at one point I was sued by the largest oil company in the United States, or in the North America, which is Encana Oil. That went into the federal court. The federal judge ruled in favor of myself and the tribes and dismissed that case. So therefore, I feel like I've devoted my entire career to tribal government, tribal sovereignty, and to uphold the authority of the tribes to control what happens on the reservation.
Thank you, John. John Washaki, are you able to provide us an introduction of yourself, your background, experience, academic background, employment, or experience with the Shoshone Business Council?
Well, I've lived on a Wind River Indian reservation all my life, and my education started here at Fort Washaki BIA day school. I went to Crowheart, Morton, and Riverton before attending Fort Sill Indian School in Oklahoma, where I graduated from. After graduating, I was drafted into the service, and I am a Vietnam veteran. I served with 101st Airborne there. I served 13 months in South Vietnam. After getting out of the service, I got married and took a job selling stocks and bonds in Denver for Gates Company. And then I moved home, and my wife and I moved home, and from there I did some jobs with the old community action program and with the legal services. But it was about that time that I decided that I wanted to further my education. I went full-time at Central Wyoming College, and I have an associate's degree from Central Wyoming College. After graduating there, I went and I have a bachelor's. That's sort of my educational background. As far as on the Shoshone Business Council, a number of those as a councilman, and then later as the chairman. I have dealt with many federal, state, and tribal agencies, and I've testified before the Senate Select Committee on Indian Affairs on appropriations, And I've also testified before the House Insular and Interior Affairs Committee, which handles a lot of the uh, uh, budget requests for tribes. Along with that, in the times that I served, in the time that I served on the council in the 80s, mostly took up most of the 80s. I'm very familiar with leasing, both oil and gas and farm and pasture. There's a world of I think I have a world of knowledge when it comes to affairs, and and I have a background for it because my background and I majored in my major at the University of Wyoming was 18th and 19th century American history, and it covered the full gamut of and their history.
All right, thank you.
Uh,
Welcome, Clinton Glick. It's nice to see you. Are you able to unmute? There you are.
Nice to see you too. Thank you, Rory, for being a moderator.
Yeah, welcome. Very quickly, we were able to go through the rules and the protocol for the debate. Are you familiar with those from the correspondence you received?
Yes.
Okay.
I didn't realize there was a time change. So.
Yeah, 3 minutes. 3 minutes for every question. We were able to start with the introductory question. You were listed as the first person to provide a response. And so we've been able to go through everybody else, and we'd like to be able to give you the opportunity to answer as well. You'll have 3 minutes. We'll notify you of your 30-second window before we transition into the next set of questions. And then the order will be moved on. So the question, Clinton, to provide to you is introduce yourself, your background and experience academically, employment, or any experience you have with the Shoshone Business Council.
Okay, my name is Clinton Glick, and presently I'm the Public Health Emergency Response Coordinator for the Shoshone Tribe. I work at the Shoshone Tribal Health Program. I guess back in the early 90s, I worked at Tribal Service when it first opened. Then later on, I worked at Wood River Environmental Quality Commission, and I used to be a water technician there for the 106 water quality. So when I was there, we did a lot of testing for what was in the water in 47 different sites. That way we could build our parameters for the water quality. Then from there, I moved on to Tribal Water Engineer's office, and I did, I was a water technician, like a supervisor there, and we actually done cubic feet per second, where we actually went out and measured the water flows. That's kind of where I started to learn about the water rights. Okay, and then from there, I went to BI Irrigation, where I worked there for a couple of years as a supervisory irrigation operator, and that was water distribution. So I did quality, quantity, and distribution. So I was pretty familiar and knowledgeable about the water rights, the water distribution, what goes on out there. And you know, throughout the years, I've lived on a ranch, which gave me the knowledge of how the land base works, the farm and pasture range, you know, pretty much a lot of the resources that are held within like agricultural economy. And then from there, I went to the Shoshone and Arapaho Tribal Transit Program, where I worked on road inventory, where I got on the federal database for road inventory. That's kind of how I got to know the road system as entirety within the boundaries of the reservation. Then from there, I went and I worked on 638 facilities contracts.
Clint, you have 30 seconds, sir.
Okay, and then I finished the houses behind the, within the compound, remodeled the jail. I guess, and then throughout this time, I was on the Tribal Water Engineers Water Resource Control Board. I then went to Wyoming Water Development Commission as a member, and then now I'm the vice chairman of the Wyoming Water Development Commission. I'm on the State Emergency Response Commission, Central Wyoming Healthcare Coalition, and I've done a lot of things out here. So, and I have a lot of ideas because I didn't only work here. I worked on the outside too, so I can kind of bring some of the things together. Thank you.
Thank you. So question number 2, please tell the tribal members why they should vote you into the Shoshone Business Council, and what are some specific areas you would like to work on or address if you are elected. Just a reminder, candidates, you each have 3 minutes and we'll notify you of your 30 seconds. Waylon, you're the first to respond. Again, the question is, please tell tribal members why they should vote you into the Shoshone Business Council. What are some specific areas you'd like to work on and address if you are elected?
Okay, unmute. Hello. I just encourage all the tribal members to vote. For me, it's a step higher. I worked in entertainment for 8 terms, but the main issue is housing, a lot of it, and then law enforcement, fish and game, a lot of the land issues. A lot of it comes down to enforcement, jurisdiction. As I know, with John St. Clair, you know, the law and order code that needs to be updated to, you know, I know they were in the works of doing that, but the law and order code itself needs to be updated. There's some stuff in there that just needs to come out and just be find out there. Dealing with the youth. We need to get stuff for the youth. I mean, there's nothing, they say there's nothing around here. But I think if the tribe or the council works together, figure out some sort of thing that we can get going for these young people. But I know one thing is housing and job development. But, you know, we're right here in this middle of this pandemic. So it changes up a lot of things now. So with the social distancing and whatnot, and also the law enforcement center. And we need to upgrade in that. I mean, that's an old BIA building, but we need space. We need space, extra courtrooms, but mainly keeping permanent police officers here and adding more to the game wardens. I mean, I hear, you know, we do need a lot more game wardens. And there's a lot of social issues out there that need to be addressed. I mean, I don't have, you know, 6 people don't have a magic wand to fix everything in one night or in 1 month or a year. But I just encourage the people to vote. It's we're living in a new time, and the social media, the world's moving as fast as it can in this 21st century. But I just will do my best for the tribe. That's all I can say. I can do my best. But I encourage you to vote for me. Hoo-wee-hoo. Vote.
Thank you. Mike Ute, would you be able to tell tribal members why they should vote you into the SBC? What are some specific areas you'd like to work on or address if elected?
Yeah, so I forgot to mention in my experience that I'm the COVID-19 coordinator, and in that capacity, I've had the time to listen to a lot of the community members, especially the elders, the program directors, the program managers, the SBC themselves, the finance department. There is a financial crisis going on with the tribe, and everybody should know that. If you've been going to GC, you should have some kind of idea of that. So voting me in, I will do my best to try to address that and just bring that to the people. Whatever happens, whatever we do, whatever we decide, it just needs to be discussed. What we've been doing for too long is making decisions without necessarily involving the public with that. There's a lot of good ideas out there, but there's a lot of bad ideas out there. Whatever we decide, it needs to be discussed. And a lot of the issues besides the financial crisis are, we got to figure out a way through people's ideas that, like, the intertribal council needs to go away. Okay. We just need to, and the reason why people think that is they just don't have the information. They don't know why it's good. Maybe they don't even know why it's bad. Again, it comes down to not discussing things. I believe I have the experience to go through and just kind of tighten up things here and there. And I've been saying this whole time there, and just like what Waylon is saying, there's just like no magic wand that we can do and everything is going to be fixed. We can't rely on one single idea and everything is going to be fixed. We got to go through. We got to look at all of our programs. We got to look at the program managers. We got to look at where our revenue streams are, where our losses are at, where our profits are. Once we decide those types of things, then we discuss it. It gets out into the public. We need to start building a relationship between the SBC and the general council and the general membership. We even need to build a relationship in the SBC itself. I kind of noticed that the SBC currently, it's not firing on all cylinders, and it should. And it just takes a certain type of person to be able to work with somebody else. And I work really well with other people. I take ideas, I tear them apart to make sure that they're feasible, that they're going to work, and then I put it back together. Other areas, just like what Waylon's saying.
30 seconds, Mike.
So there's a lot of social issues going on out there. A lot of underage drinking, a lot of addiction. There's not enough going on for that. A vote for me just means you're voting in somebody that's just like you, who cares about the issues. Whoever you vote for, just get out and vote. That's the most important thing. Thanks.
Thank you. We'll move on to Vernon Hill. Vernon, can you please tell tribal members why they should vote you into SBC? What are some specific areas you'd like to work on or address if elected?
Can you hear me now? Okay. I guess the way I look at it is, there's some things that the council's been working on in the last, a few years. And one of them is we're saying, okay, we realize that we're in our finances are in bad shape now. But the problem which really created that was the COVID-19. That's what drove the price of oil down nationally. So we're not the only ones hurting. There's other tribes, other people out there that's hurting because of that. And I guess what we're looking at is, there's a day that we've always talked about this, the tribes always talked about this, about, running their own oil company, getting 100% of, what comes out of the fields. And that's something I'd like to continue working on. We've been kind of in a, held back some because of the arbitration we had with Merit Oil Company. Merit Oil Company, what they did is they had a lease that expired, and we tried to negotiate with them on that, on what our royalty would be. And they wouldn't meet our terms what we wanted. And so they filed against us in court and went, it's been an arbitration. They just finished up last week on that. We have to wait for about another 30 days to get a response from the arbitrators. And with that, if we can get that going, that would help us out. Then we can probably, move forward with that, looking at the creation of our own oil company in, saying for the future. But what that would do is benefit the tribes a lot more, because right now we're only getting maybe 20% of that out there. But what we'd like to do is control it all and get 100% out of it. And the other thing is, been involved in this COVID-19 since it came about. And there's a lot of things that required of us to move that forward, that I know there's, we try to work together on a lot of that. There's probably most of the council is pretty well up on what's going on, but there's, let's just say there's one out there that feels that we make the decisions without them, but you have to be there to be involved in the program. Okay.
Okay, thank you. Next question. Well, John St. Clair, would you be able to tell tribal members why they should vote you into SBC? What are some specific areas you'd like to work on or address if you are reelected to SBC?
Okay, thank you. I believe that I should be reelected because I have experience, a lot of years of experience in tribal government. And I'm a licensed attorney. And because of those things, I also have some knowledge as to the operation of tribal government. With a lot of issues involving the law, leases. We have issues regarding treaty rights. We have things that come up every day, whether they're in the law or not. Well, the financial situation of the tribe is due to the decline in the market of oil and gas. And that just exemplifies the need to diversify our economy. We have a good idea of going forward to try to have our own oil company develop our resources so we can receive 100% of the revenues. But also we need to look at other sources of income and try to develop our solar energy and wind energy. Those are the future in the energy area. Fossil fuels is declining and they're non-renewable resources. So once you use them up, they're gone. The wind and the sun will always be here. In this part of the country, we get about 300 days out of the year of our sun, and everyone knows how much the wind blows. There are grants, loans that are guaranteed that we look to apply for and try to develop these areas which will provide jobs for our people. We just need to go forward and do that. The immediate goals that I have is, first of all, to try and reopen the casino. The tribe has authorized $2 million. Although there's a lot of debt that we're facing, we need to find a way to go forward with that, because when the tribe authorized that money, that was a message for us to do that. The other area that I want to see developed is the land that was purchased by Walmart. There's a project from Riverton where they're looking to get funding to build a hospital, and we're negotiating to sell a small portion acres out of the 300 for that. The price that they will pay for that will cover what we paid for the entire 300 acres. Okay. Outside of that 6 acres that they're asking for, we're looking to develop the balance of that with infrastructure like water and sewer.
John St. Clair, that's time, sir. Thank you.
Okay, thank you.
John Washaki, please tell tribal members why they should vote you into the Shoshone Business Council. What are some specific areas you'd like to work on or address if elected to the Shoshone Business Council?
Well, a long time ago, Rupert Weeks told me that if there's 4,500 Shoshones, then there's 4,500 political parties in the tribe. And I kind of believe him. So it's hard to focus on that. But I have experience. I think that I can bring some experience. I have some educational background if we're talking about any type of energy development or any type of projects that deal with that. Our economy is basically based on oil and gas and farm and pasture leasing, as well as little money we get from fish and game. But and that's really the limit of our income when you look at it. We do need to diversify and look at some other areas. I think that what would really help is some private sector development out here, especially by tribal members. But you have so many concerns that when you're on the council, you kind of have to weigh those, because you also got to think of individual health. A lot of things, a lot of problems there. You have a lot of problems with addiction. We need to focus on those and assure a healthy community. I think I can be very helpful in a lot of areas, and I'm really open to good suggestions, whether it comes from the public or other members. And I've always been a person that works well with other people. So I think that's some of my strongest points. I do have to admit that I'm going to have to catch up on especially things like the tribal finances. I don't have access to that daily or even yearly, because I retired from I spent 18 years at Fort Washki School and retired there. So I think I have a lot to bring, and I would like to ask people to vote for me. Thank you. You're muted.
Good. Thank you. Clinton Glick, please tell tribal members why they should vote you into the Shoshone Business Council. What are some specific areas you'd like to work on or address if elected to the Shoshone Business Council?
I guess, I'm honest, I'm understanding, mindful, and I've lived out here my whole life, and I know a lot of the trials and tribulation that the individuals go through. I understand, a lot of the problems that are out here. I worked for basically from the Shoshone tribe, joint tribes, BIA altogether, worked like 20 some years. And I was actually a director for many years, and I learned quite a bit on the finances and how they work out here. And during that time, I got to understand the areas that really need to be fixed, within the programs, because I know the programs, that we get funding from, or we get funding from the federal government to run these programs. When a lot of the money hits here, it doesn't go to the people that are actually in need for the services. It sure seems like, and over the years, even while working there, I got to see a lot of people that took advantage of the programs and actually worked it where people people they were connected to ended up with the services. And you can't blame just one person. It's everybody that worked there as a whole, because a lot of people just looked the other way. Some people couldn't do nothing about it, but and I'd like to see more transparency between the council and the people, because the people are the ones that receive a lot of the services. That's what we're there for, to help them. We basically do what the people want, you know, and I understand that we can't fix everything for everybody, but at least we can go in and start working on these programs, so when we build them up, we can start including more people. I'd like to see boards over many of the programs where it separates a lot of the hiring and stuff directly from the council to the programs, where it would be more the board, where the boards are educated.
10 seconds.
They're more knowledgeable in that field. They got more ideas on how to move things forward. So all of us need to lift each other up and move forward as a whole, not just trying to fix everything from one chair or one board. We need several individuals that are educated out there to help us lift everybody up. And I know we have people out there that can do it.
Okay.
We're smart people. We can do this.
Thank you, Clint.
Sure.
Question number 3. The question is, what are your thoughts on the Wind River Intertribal Council? Mike Ute, what are your thoughts on the Wind River Intertribal Council?
Intertribal Council, it is necessary. And what a lot of people kind of don't understand a whole lot, and it's that shared interest between the tribes. Okay, and it goes back to that 1937 case. The shared interest in the resources in the land requires that both tribes have to work together in some kind of capacity, whether it's joint in that way, or if it's the Intertribal Council, there has to be some type of structure there to manage these resources. And once we start talking about these resources, we have to have programs that have oversight over these resources, just like the roads program or transportation, tribal water engineers, things of that nature. They need to exist. They have to be there. And we can't just do away with them, because you look at something like the courts. The court is what you would call a joint program. If we get rid of the courts, or if we try to get rid of the Intertribal Council and then we start looking towards the courts, that'll split. And people don't want that CFR court again. I mean, that was a nightmare. Personally, I had to deal with the CFR court, and I had to deal with the tribal court. On a personal note, I've been in and out of the court system because I had to deal with a lot of issues with a divorce. So we had children, and I had to go in there for a visitation, child support. And there was a moment where we went into tribal court. I was prepared. I was ready. I had all my paperwork. I was going to get a 50-50 split. They were going to drop child support. The CFR court came into existence because that's when the tribes split. Nothing could be done. Okay. And I'm going to tell you right now, especially when we're dealing with kids, you don't want to deal with the CFR court and a tribal court, because then they will not communicate with each other. They don't want it. Okay. That's bad news. Intertribal Council, that's why that exists, to deal with those mutual interests that both tribes have. Okay. It's necessary. It might not have been set up in the best way that a lot of the Shoshone people think, but it is necessary. And maybe that could be looked at again. Maybe we could review things. Some people just don't like the name. Some people don't like intertribal. They want to go back to joint, even though it would essentially be the same thing. So that's my thought on that.
Okay, thank you. Vernon Hill, what are your thoughts on the Wind River Intertribal Court?
The courts? Is these just the courts you're asking about?
The Wind River Intertribal Council, what are your thoughts?
That's what I was wondering, whether you had said Intertribal Council or the courts. Okay, what I think about it is, when I first went into office here 4 years ago, the tribes had already split, and that had an impact on all our what we called our joint programs. One of the reasons I know that some of the people were, let's just say some of the legal people were saying that the Shoshone and Arapaho tribes was not a legal entity. So what they were doing is they kind of encouraged one side to split because of that. And as they came back in, when I came in a few years ago, then we worked to try to put that back together. And that was the name that was chosen at that time. But we have to realize that either whether it's called the joint tribes or the intertribal, is that these are the ones that take care of our natural resources and our laws on the reservation. So, that's really their function here is, kind of the core on there to, like say in the Law and Order Code, in all the joint programs and our oil and gas and other things out there, that's what they deal with. So, right now it's been going pretty smooth because of the, things that are getting ironed out slowly, but, it's moving to where it's, working. But I realize there's a lot of people don't like that name. And, it's functioning right now. That's the main thing, because we have to have somebody look out for our resources. Okay. All right. Thank you.
Okay, thank you. John St. Clair, what are your thoughts on the Wind River Intertribal Council?
My thoughts on this Intertribal Council is it's necessary because the issues that come before it are joint issues as a result of the tribes owning the reservation jointly. The court case that came in 1937, 1938 was a case where the Shoshone tribe sued the government for breach of the treaty for allowing bringing the Northern Arapaho people and placing them on the reservation. So the Shoshone tribe sued for that. The court said that, yes, that was a breach of the treaty. It was wrong, and then awarded some money damages. After the tribe accepted that the money damages, then that kind of closed the door on it. We were stuck with that decision. If you look at what the Sioux did with the Black Hills, they didn't accept the money, and they still can claim that land. They still have a claim for it. But here it's different. We accepted that money, right or wrong. All the programs that relate directly to the land are the joint programs, and those are what the Intertribal Council decides. In 2014, the Northern Arapaho tribal attorneys gave some bad advice to their client. They could get more horses as their population by splitting. But when it came to the joint resources, those are impossible to split. You can't split law enforcement. You can't split fish and game and the court system, because they relate to the land. And when that case that was filed by the Arapaho tribe against the government came up and was decided, it was held that the government's not going to fund the tribe separately in these areas. So today, the only funding we can get to run fish and game, to run the court system, our water department, environmental, those have to be joint grants or contracts. And so without that intertribal council, all of that would come to a standstill again. And so whether we like it or not, whether we like the name or not, or the concept, or whether or not we want to work with the Arapaho tribe, we have to in order to go forward. It's difficult at times. We don't agree 100% with the Northern Arapaho tribe, but since we're in the same boat together, we have to work those differences out. So my conclusion is that it's necessary. We have to try to do the best we can.
Okay, thank you. John Washiki, what are your thoughts on the Wind River Intertribal Council?
My thoughts are that they handle a lot of joint issues, as we've been taught, as has been said, like resources, fish and game. We have a lot of resources that takes a body to determine what's going to happen to them, or how they're moving forward, or even as far as game quotas. But it takes a body to do that. I know that when I was listening to some of the discussions that was going on about getting rid of joint council, that they didn't like it because it was a government creation, and that's true. And the BIA, after the 1900, decided that they needed a council, and they're the ones that appointed the first council. The superintendent here appointed that council, and they served up until 1935. And it was 6 members from the Arapaho tribe and 6 members from the Shoshone tribe. And so it was just kind of incorporated when they were structuring the government. But for some reason or other, it didn't, they disliked the Bureau of Indian Affairs determining the structure of the council, just the reference to Joint Business Council. And I really didn't understand all of the discussions that was taking place, but my understanding is that it's just a name really for Joint Business Council. And Joint Business Council, there are joint actions, it has to function. So that's where I'm at with it.
Okay, thank you. Clayton Glick, what are your thoughts on the Wind River Intertribal Council?
I've worked for Joint for 20 years, maybe. Anyway, the Joint Tribal Council comes together, and they're the ones that approve the oil leases, or they accept certain prices, for like sand, gravel. They're the ones that kind of step up and take care of the natural resources for both tribes, since our land is owned 50-50 undivided interest. That means that there's no way to divide it up because you only get a percentage. So this makes it really imperative that we have a joint business council, and I know that they call it Wind River Intertribal Council, but basically in the end, it's pretty much the same thing. Now, if we don't work together, there's no way that we're going to move forward with our oil, gravel, the water, land. All of these natural resources are, like John said, come to a standstill. There's nothing that we can do if we both don't agree and move forward. Now, within the joint programs, there is a lot of issues. However, we were at that time when they split, we were actually building up, and our programs were getting bigger and bigger. And and it's just my opinion, but I think the Apples, when they split, they thought they could take everything by population, but then it come back to a lot of the grants and stuff are derived from the land, which is 50-50. So that population thing just didn't play out like they thought it would. And I understand that one of the courts said that, you know, the Rappos can't be telling us what to do in our own homeland, you know, and I think that's where they started, you know, things started to come back together. But if we don't work together, we both own 50-50, how are we going to get anything done? You know, within these programs that we're building up, and some of them are still there, but some of them need help to get back together. We need to have like control boards over each program with people that are, like I said, educated in that field, knowledgeable, experienced, you know. Doesn't mean that, you know, retired people, you know, whatever, just different people that are knowledgeable. That way they could help that program build up in the right way. They can do the hiring and firing, the priority lists, you know, what direction, 3-year plan, 5-year plan, 10-year plan. Get all this together. All right, thanks. Sorry.
Thank you. We'll move on to question 4. Just to let you know, Clinton, before we began, Waylon Large had indicated that he has a prior engagement. So he was planning to leave 45 minutes into the forum. So he has since left. And so we'll move on with the questioning, removing Waylon's name at this time. The question number 4, it says, to you, what does it mean to be on the Shoshone Business Council? What role does the SBC play in Shoshone tribal government? Vernon Hill, to you, what does it mean to be on the Shoshone Business Council? What role does the SBC play in the Shoshone tribal government?
I think one of the major role that we play in there as a councilman is that, you know, we're elected by the people. And we, you know, answer to our general council. A lot of times in the past that hasn't happened, you know, because we didn't have general counsel for a number of years, but we did manage to finally have one. But that's basically what it is you're working for the tribe. The job is to basically for the tribe. So you're looking out for everything, their welfare and, you know, some different problems that individuals have out there with their land and, you know, water, you know, all of those things. So we try to clarify it a lot of times for the people. And so basically that's all I could say is we're working for the people in there once we get in there. So that's about all I have on it. So thank you.
Thank you. John St. Clair, to you, what does it mean to be on the Shoshone Business Council? What role does the Shoshone Business Council play in Shoshone tribal government?
Well, it's an honor to be elected to the Shoshone Business Council because the people have selected you as a leader to go forward and carry out their wishes. The Shoshone Business Council is subordinate to the Shoshone General Council. We carry out the day-to-day operations of the tribe. The General Council directs us on what we're supposed to do. This past year, it's been very difficult to have transparency because of COVID. Normally, there's informational meetings and more communication. I think that we should try and have informational meetings with the public as things go along and meet people abreast as to what's happening in the different areas. I think that we're servants of the tribe and we answer to the tribe. And so, we're put on a pedestal, and I'm sure that people then can criticize our everyday behavior, but I'd just like to make a plea to the people that I'm the person that's presently elected and hopefully will be elected, and only me, not my family, not my wife, my daughter. They shouldn't be put up for public ridicule. I'm pretty thick-skinned, and I can take it. Thank you.
Thank you. John Washiki, to you, what does it mean to be on the Shoshone Business Council? What role does the SBC play in Shoshone tribal government?
First off, it's always been a tradition in the tribe that the tribe, as having any tribal government, they chose to follow the ones that they thought would do the best job for them. And then after we had tribal government, it's still the same way in that they select the leaders. So in that way, it is an honor to be elected to the business council. As far as their role, well, as far as the tribal council's role in tribal government, to some extent, it also is an administrative function, which is usually identified with the executive branch in other democracies. But we also have a general counsel which can mandate things to the business council, make those decisions and mandate the actual future direction of the council. It's good that we all have a voice in general council, and we have a voice in elected. It's a voice that you bring from once you're elected into office, your job is to serve all of the people of the tribe. So
Okay.
that's about all I have.
Okay. And where are we down to now? John Clinton Glick. To you, what does it mean to be on the Shoshone Business Council? What role does the SBC play in Shoshone tribal government?
We're elected by the people, for the people, which basically we're there to kind of represent an administrative role for the Shoshone tribal government. We kind of administer, the programs, and we kind of, a lot of the individuals that need help out there, we try to help get services to them, maybe through one of our programs or directly through the business council. Now we oversee and pretty much sign off on a lot of the grants and stuff for the tribe, and all of that authority comes from the general council, which is the people. Now a lot of them, through the general council, they're the ones that basically set the law of the land. That's pretty much how we got the, Shoshone Arapaho Law and Order Code, the different sections approved through the general council. Actually, both general councils, not only ours, but our other sister tribe down the road. Now, we have to kind of administer a lot of the different laws out there, I guess, in a sense, because we kind of work with the tribal government. The enforcement, is something that our tribal council should strive for out here. I know it's almost impossible to get enforcement done, but if we work together and then start presenting different maybe resolutions to the general council, explaining ourselves, then maybe we could start building our law and order code up to meet the needs of the people of today, not necessarily change everything, but at least get it back to being relevant to the issues we're having today. So anyway, I guess we're basically representatives of the people, like John Waschke said, like almost like an executive branch of the government, whereas the general council is the legislative, and the tribal court is our judicial. It's kind of a checks and balances thing. So we're not out there just doing what we want. We're here to kind of serve our people and make sure that we're heading in the right direction.
Okay.
We can't fix everything, but we can give it a darn good try.
Okay, thank you, Clint. Just a reminder, we're picking up some background noise at your location. So if you can just be aware of that background noise. We are kind of picking up on some exterior conversations. So moving on, Mike Ute, to you, what does it mean to be on the Shoshone Business Council? And what role does the SBC play in Shoshone tribal government?
All right, so leadership, lead by example, and look what you've done in the past to see what you might do for the future. And it is an honor for people to vote based on those things. For at least for me, it's an honor for people to have the confidence in what I've been able to do to be able to at least make this top 6. I honestly didn't think I was going to make this top 6. But like I said, leadership, lead by example, and look what you've done in the past to figure out what you might do for the future. Now, as far as the role of the SBC in tribal government, the SBC operates as the day-to-day operations of the tribe, whereas the general council operates more of the overall well-being of the tribe. Obviously, there should be a relationship between the two. They need to work together so that the whole tribe operates efficiently, safely, and that they're following our treaty rights, that they're operating in the best interest of all the people. So there needs to be a relationship between the SBC and the general council, and not even just the general council, but just the general membership of the tribe. So to me, that's how the SBC operates. They work on the day-to-day operations, which the general council just physically cannot do. If they were to try to do some of these day-to-day operations, the general council would be meeting 60 to 80 times per year. Nobody's going to do that. So the SBC is trusted by the people to work on these day-to-day operations. Thank you.
Okay, thank you. We're moving on to question number 5. Question number 5 is just for the closing comments. You will have 5 minutes, is that correct, Alejandra? We'll have 5 minutes for each candidate. There's a specific order listed. I will provide you the order so that way you have time to prepare. We'll begin with John St. Clair, followed by John Waschke, followed by Clinton Glick, Mike Ute, and finally Vernon Hill will provide the last comments. So John St. Clair, do you have any closing comments you'd like to provide? Again, it'll be for 5 minutes.
Yeah. Okay, I'd like to encourage everyone to get out and vote. That's your voice. If you don't have much of a voice in criticizing, so your time to get out and vote. Vote for whoever you want to. I want to appreciate the opportunity to talk today. Like I said earlier, I'm asking for your vote because I have experience. The tribe paid for my education. I want to pay that back if I can. I've listed some of the issues that face the tribe, the casino situation, our revenues and solutions for those. We do have a lot of talent in our tribe. Our young people are our future. We need to get those people motivated, involved in our government, and utilize their knowledge and skills that they have to carry these things forward, the projects such as wind and solar energy, those projects. We need them to participate in that. We need to also expand some of our existing programs that we have, like our wood products program. Go beyond just firewood, do some lumber, house logs, so that we can sell those house logs to the housing so that they can use them to build houses. And that way we're employing our people to obtain those out of our resources up in the mountains, and then gain income from the sale of those things, open up the sales to the public of our products that we're coming out to expand our present businesses like that. We need to also put a little more money into our enterprise and our road department, and so that we can, and our propane department also, so that we can not only serve our people, but offer that to the public at large. That way we can generate income for our tribe and employ more people in doing so. So in closing, I want to just thank you again for the opportunity, encourage you to get out and vote.
Okay, thank you. Closing comments, John Washiki.
Yeah, I have a few. First off, I'd like to thank everyone confidence in me to actually vote for me and get me to the general election. I will be very grateful if I am successful in the general election, and would like at this time to thank everybody for that. There are many things that being on the council come before you, and you have to make a decision on or to do something or not do something. But over the years, I've pretty much understood that we are pretty much an exporting economy. And the problem with that is that we get our per capita payments and run the ladder and spend them. We need to turn that money over a few more times. Like the casino was an opportunity to really do that for some of our smaller enterprises. Hasn't been given us that opportunity, and expanding in the oil and gas, whatever the decision is there, I would think that we need to do that. I've been for a very long time in favor of developing an energy company, whether it be oil and gas or whether it be environmentally friendly. So those are some of the things that I can bring to the table, and I would certainly appreciate the vote on in the general election, and I'll try my best to do what I can and expand into some of these areas where we can have a revenue stream for our tribal government and so governmental service programs that are needed out here. So I'll work very hard on that, and just thank you for any opportunity that you give me. Thank you.
Thank you. We'll move on to Clinton Glick. Do you have any closing comments?
Forgetting to unmute myself. I'd like to thank everybody for voting for me to at least make it to the general election. I'm really grateful. Like everybody said, it would be a really honor to be on the council to represent you as a tribe and try to at least, take care of the day-to-day operations in a, kind and empathetic and stern when you need to be way. I think that we need to not only look at different avenues of revenue, but start building up our programs that provide many services for our tribal individuals, the general public, the elderly, the at-risk individuals, the handicapped, and especially the children. We can't forget about them little guys. That's one of the things that our lives are all about, is to build up things so that we can pass it on to our children. And one of the things I want everybody to understand is that, we can start different things, start bringing in revenue. Like John said, John Boschke said, start putting up businesses here, let's start making that money roll over here within the reservation before it leaves. Now there's, I know there's the casino, and it may be a problem, and it was, not really our fault that the oil industry and stuff went down, and that kind of hampered our casino, but we're stuck with it, and we can fix it to where we can start bringing in funding with all of the tourists that come through. That casino is not built for us to go gamble at. That casino was built to make money catching these tourists going up to Yellowstone and Jackson and Cody, and wherever they can go through from here to get to where they're going and stop by and make it a vacation destination, not just a casino. There's a lot of things that we can do to fix that up. Now with the land and the water, there's I'd like to say that we really need to protect our main resource, which is the water and the water. The land is basically attached to it. I see that we can bring in a lot of revenue if we can work together to start different businesses that utilize our water. We have a lot of features water out there that we don't use every year. Goes right past us. If we start working at trying to utilize it, we could make the money, not these white guys coming in and utilizing our land with the farm and pasture leases. We need to do something about, where our people are the ones that end up with the revenue from which is derived off our land and water. Right now I see it where it's, a lot of people are using that, but it's not us. I'd like to see if we can, and this is myself, I've been a Sundancer for, I Sundanced for 14 years, which is, since I was younger, and it helped me learn what life was really for and why we're here. It's to make the next generation a little bit better. So I'd like to, in a way, to kind of unite our tribe by pulling us together, by everybody, actually participating, in our different functions, like our cultural, religious. We have a lot of different events out here. Even like they used to have big basketball tournaments, different sporting events, baseball, rodeos. I mean, there's a lot of things out here that we need to pull our people together with and start uniting as a tribe so we can move forward. I think this divide thing, it's kind of ridiculous, but I understand it happens everywhere.
Okay.
If we pull together, we'll be a lot more stronger.
Okay, thank you, Clinton.
Thank you.
Mike Ute, do you have any closing comments you'd like to provide?
Yeah, so first of all, I'd like to thank everybody that voted for me and got me this far. Thank you for your confidence. I really appreciate it. I also wanted to congratulate all of the candidates, even the ones that initially put their names in that hat. That's not easy. You're opening yourself up to ridicule. You're opening yourself up to people saying just terrible things about you, making up things about you, just trying to pull you down. So it's not easy. Everybody that put their name in there for whatever position, good job, and keep doing it. We need more people to start stepping up and just being a part of it. As far as the tribe goes, we need to be able to hold our heads up high again. So, and this goes out to anybody that's watching this or that will watch this tomorrow when you wake up. Don't think about how you're going to ruin somebody's day. Okay. Don't think like that. Just wake up and think how you're going to make your own life better. We need to make small changes. That way we can all feel better. And it feels like, especially with the shutdowns, with the quarantines, with all of the deaths that are happening, we kind of lost something a little bit. We need help. I feel like the 6 candidates that made it this far, they're all great choices, okay? You just got to figure out who you want to vote for, who you have confidence in, and then do that. Whoever you vote for, just make sure that you support them, okay? Even if you didn't vote for somebody and they make it on, support them. They will never get anywhere without any type of support. If you keep thinking that negative things are going to happen, negative things are going to happen. Okay, that will never change. So what I would want is we do need more unity in the tribe, and we're losing that for some odd reason. It's we used to be really proud people, and now we're just kind of floating along, and nobody is connected anymore. Nobody goes and visits the old ones. Nobody goes and just helps each other out anymore just because they want to. So we need to start doing that again. I want to say thank you because this has been a hard road, just even getting this far, but I do feel confident that if I make it, I'm going to do my best to at least get the wheels moving again, even if it's just a crawl. If it's just a crawl, at least we're still moving forward. Okay. I want to thank all the other candidates that are here. I appreciate your words. It's good to hear everybody speak, and I listen, I observe, and I absorb everything that you're saying, and I'll continue to do that whether I get in or not. If you come and talk to me at my office, or you come and see me, or you see me somewhere else, you see me at the gym, you see me at the gas station, whatever you say to me, I take that and I put it in my pocket and I remember it, and then I use it somewhere else. Okay, so thank you for your confidence this far, and let's just try to work together to try to get our tribe moving forward again. We really, really need it. And all of you young kids out there, we need you to start doing something, okay? So thank you. Thank everybody.
Okay, thank you. And Vernon Hill, do you have any closing comments you'd like to provide?
You hear me? All right. Yes, I guess what I'd like to do is I'd like to thank those that voted for me in the primary, and just ask for their continued support in the general election. And I guess one of the things that I'd like to say is that, I have the experience, many years of experience in the tribal government. I guess as you look at it, most of my adult life, I've worked for the tribal government. And the thing is I'd like to see our people, come together. Like what Mike mentioned there, is that, they're not together. What we're doing is there's always that feud there, they're always fighting. I think the only way that we're ever going to move forward is once we all come together and support each other and say, okay, we need to do that. But that's where we run into a problem a lot of times, is with some of our people out there fighting the council, over things. But that's what, like he said, we need the support, of the people out there, to move forward. Like some of the things that John Sinclair mentioned on that is, we need to diversify. There's ways that we can do it. We looked at quite a few things to diversify, to bring more income into the tribes. And that's, our biggest problem that we have right now is that we're not able to do any, taxation right now. And that's kind of what hurts us in operating our tribal government, because all we operate off from is the 15% that comes off the oil and gas. And so, that, like I said, that's kind of limited. We've been lucky so far is that, when the COVID first came about, it really messed with our oil prices like that. But as we've seen it here about a month ago, it's kind of on a rise again. It's coming back up so that that's the way we were able to maintain, a certain amount for per cap this coming into November. So that's one of the things that we'd like to see, is to diversify, other things that we can move with. And, where it'll benefit the tribe. And so I just say, just ask for your vote, and I'll do my best in there also. So thank you.
All right. Thank you, Vernon. Candidates, this concludes our SBC candidate forum. We appreciate each of you being here today. Just remember, the forum will be available to view on the YouTube page. The links will be posted in Facebook as well. We hope the forum was helpful and informative as you prepare to vote in the Shoshone general election on Tuesday, October 27th. Polling places, as always, are open 9 a.m. to 7 p.m. at the Rocky Mountain Hall and the Big Wind Hall. COVID-19 precautions will be in place. We also encourage you to vote in the presidential election on November 3rd. The forum was brought to you by the Eastern Shoshone Tribe's Public Relations Office. Again, my name is Rory Tindor, and I thank you all for your time. And if you have any questions or comments, candidates, if you have a personal forum or you have some information that you're sharing on social media, please make sure to provide the information to the Public Relations Office so that can be attached or included to this this forum. Any questions or additional comments, please reach out to Public Relations Office here at the Shoshone Business Council building. Again, thank you. Have a good night.